Hello everybody, I'm Sophia. Welcome to my channel, Phi Phi Draws. Today's video is called How I Shadow, and I'm going to be talking to you guys in depth about shadows. Not too deep though. And it's going to have a little bit more technicality than how I highlight videos, because to me, shadows are more complex and require more effort. Shadows are a very important concept to understand in art because they bring dimension to the art, which is really important. So let's get on with the actual drawing. As you can see right here, I've just set up a piece of Bristol paper, and first you need to choose your colors. So I choose 3 colors in a gradient. The first one is a hot pink hobby color marker because I'm using pink as the color that I'm going to build shadows on. Next, I have my purple hobby color marker, which is next in the gradient scale that I'm using. And finally, I have what color is this? A plum-tastic purple thick marking pen that I'm using as my darkest shade. And it's really important to find colors that blend well together, otherwise the shadows won't look natural. So to test if they blend well, first I uncap all of them because wet on wet works best when you're trying to blend effectively. My table is like tipped, so that's why that happens all the time. So first I'm going in with my base color, which will be my hot pink hobby color marker. This is the lightest color of the 3 that I'm using. Now I'm using purple, and I know purple isn't exactly a dark shade of pink, but when I'm doing shadows, I like to go a bit cooler than the base color that I started with, because I think it looks more shadowy. I guess that would be what you would say. I don't really know. So I'm just making sure that these colors blend nicely together and are pleasing to look at, because if your shadows are strange combinations of color, as you'll see in a moment, it's really just upsetting for your eyes. Your eyes get upset. And as you can see, this has a nice gradient scale that looks like shadows, but isn't just plain boring gray, which some people do. It blends right from pink into the purple, which is, it's still a warm purple, so we're good. It's good shadow color for hot pink. Next, I'm going to show you an example of what a bad shadow color would be. So again, I'm using the same base color of hot pink, and then I'm using my hot pink chromatics marker, which really isn't that much darker, as a shadow to my pink, and it is a bit warmer than that pink, so it's gonna look weird. Now, really weird, I'm taking my lavender thick marking pen and I'm using that as the darkest color. Doesn't that look weird? Your darkest color actually needs to be the darkest, and that color is way too cool for the hot pink. It's hot pink, guys, like, yeah. So once you've chosen your colors, it's important to think about where the light is coming from, which can make a drawing really interesting. So I drew a cube to display the whole light source thing on. So your light source can come from many different places. It can come from the right, the left, the front, the back, from the top, and from the bottom. So I'm just drawing arrows of all of those directions on here. And the ones in the middle of the box are from the front and from the back. And to get a really dynamic drawing, you want to choose 3 of these and combine them. So I'm choosing from the right, from the bottom, and from the front. So my light source would then be about right there. So where that arrow is pointing will be the brightest part of my drawing, and all the other parts will be a little bit darker. So I'm just going in with my hot pink base, and I'm coloring in the entire square because it is the base color. And you will layer the shadowy colors on top of it. So I'm coloring in the entire cube. This is not my best coloring drawing thing. I go outside of the lines a lot, but it's okay because it's just a display of where your light source can come from. Next, I'm using my purple, and I'm doing it about midway to like where the brightest point would be. And then I'm doing it completely on the top because if the light's coming from the bottom, it's not going to shine on the top at all. And now I'm just blending those colors with my hot pink. So that was my mid-tone. Now I'm using my darkest tone, which is the Plum-tastic Purple, and I'm doing it at about the quarter mark to the brightest light, if that makes sense. It's easy to think about on a square because it's just easier, but this is a cube. It's more difficult. So yeah, I'm using that about the quarter mark of where the light would hit. I don't know if that makes sense, but I tried. And I'm just blending it with my purple. So always blend, blend, blend with shadows unless it is a stylized thing, which I'll show you in a minute. Here we go. So I drew another cube, and I'm again coloring it in with my hot pink hobby color marker. And the point of this cube is to show you that shadows can be fun and dynamic, and they can be cartoony if you want. So I'm creating curved shadows with some curvature going on so that they look a little bit more cartoonish. And I'm not blending it, again, so that it looks more cartoonish. So it's more of a stylized thing. It really depends on if you're going for a more realistic approach. And I'm doing the same thing, a curved line and no blending with my Bic marking pen. And as you can see, it looks pretty much the same, but there are some differences that can make a big difference and unify the piece. So this is what you should and shouldn't do. We're gonna review that. So one thing you should do is find a good blended assortment of colors that get darker. One thing you shouldn't do is choose colors that don't blend. Basically, you want to find a darker variation of your first color. The next thing to do is find an interesting angle of the light, which would be like from the corner or from the side. And another thing is personalize it. Do what you want, make it your own, have style, because that separates you as an artist. And a big do not is do not use gray. Gray is boring. Unless it's black and white, then gray is fine. But use colors. Colors are fun. I really never use gray or black in my drawings because I just find it to be dull and it drags everything down. So that is a big do not. But we're reaching the end of the video now, and I'm just writing the title on there because it's just like a little cute button on the end. How to shadow. Okay, so we have our little sheet of Bristol paper right here, and that's just a recap. Now I thought you guys would like if I showed you this independent art project that I've been working on. It's a ring mistress, and as you can see, the shadows on her coat, I used the same color scheme that I did in this video, and I did not blend these shadows because I wanted it to look a little bit cartoonier. So that's pretty much the end. And also, shout out to Keys to My Art for sending in this picture of her window clings and for suggesting this video.